Welcome to the STS room. We're going to explain you a quick overview of how to operate the STS machine. So the first thing to do is once you arrive here into the room is to check the tag to see if the CDO is off, or otherwise if the machine has any problem and cannot be operated. In case that the tag is down or like hidden, you can operate the machine normally. The first thing to do is like come next to the screen of the room, to the small laptop, and log in. Once you are logged in, you have to proceed to the gas chase next to the STS room. The first thing to check in the gas room, the gas chase, is like the CDO box. The CDO box is responsible of neutralizing the exhaust gases from the STS. So by burning them, it makes them harmless. The thing that we have to check is that all the lights are green, and the temperature it's within parameters, as well as the levels of the water, nitrogen and oxygen. Once we check that everything is under working conditions, we will check if the operating gases are flowing. As you can see, the gases are in this side of the room. We're going to be using the first four gases that are the C4F8. So we have to check if it's in use. Then the SF6, the oxygen and the helium. If once you arrive here you notice that any of the tags says that they are not in use, please contact a super user or staff to turn them on. Once you are inside the room, take advantage to check for any weird noises or like funny smells. If everything is in place, you can proceed with operating the machine. Back in the STS room, the first thing that we will do is check the STS tower, and then we will record the conductivity of the water and the temperatures on the STS, the HCU 5 and like 3 and 1. So we will record the values, and once we have recorded the values from the tower, we will go to the computer to record the other different values that we have to record. The ones that we need are going to be the high vacuum pressure, the Capman pressure, the 4-line pressure, and the load lock pressure. If you have any problem finding any of the values in the screens, you only have to go on top of them to see what are their values. Once we recorded the parameters, the first thing that we have to do is change the operator mode on the software of the STS. In order to do that, we go to Edit, Operator Mode, and we change from Monitor to Development. We press Change, and then we log in the password. We press Return twice, and we change now to Development Mode, where we can operate the machine. Now the first thing to do is to load the desired wafer to the load lock chamber. We do that going to the transfer window and pressing Vent. Once we press Vent, we have to wait for the load lock chamber to reach atmospheric pressure. Once the transfer chamber is under atmospheric pressure, we open it, and we will charge the desired wafer into the chamber. As you will see, like usually the wafers have a flat, and loading carousels we have a small line. Please align the flat with the line on the desired spot. Once we have the wafer properly loaded, we close the load lock chamber, and we go to the transfer window, and we will press Pump and Map. Now the load lock chamber is going to be put under running conditions, and it's going to also scan to see where are the wafers placed. Once the software has mapped the slots in the carousel, we will load the desired one. In our case, we have our wafer in the slot number 1. We just have to press load, and now the machine is proceeding to load the wafer into the chamber. Once the wafer is loaded into the chamber, we have a flashlight here in the machine to check that the wafer has been loaded properly. So you have to turn on the light and check through the window that the wafers is placed properly and the clamps inside the machine are holding it on place. Once the wafer is loaded into the chamber, we have to proceed by selecting the process that we will use. We have 3 standard processes: process B, process A, and auto-clean. In this case, we're gonna use the auto-clean. You please press select, don't press process, otherwise you will go straight ahead into processing the wafer. Please press select, and while the machine is selecting the process, you can press the recipe button to modify the values of the recipe. In our case, in that second menu, because it's only an example, we're gonna use only like 2 minutes of auto-clean. And also I'm going to show you how to perform a helium leak-up test. You should do that like probably at the first round of your day to check that there's no major leak of helium coming from the cooling side of the wafer. In order to do that, you press enable, don't touch anything else, and just save the recipe. Once we save the recipe and the recipe has been selected, you only need to press process. As we can see, now the gases are stabilizing. As we can see here, we have the wafer inside the chamber, and also we have like pale blue that it just changed it to magenta. When we see that change of color, means the process just started. When the process starts, we will have to record the remaining values in the log. They are the 4 gas fluxes, the C4, F8, the SF6, and the oxygen. In our case, the O2 clean only use O2 flux, so only have a flux of oxygen. We also will have to record the cold generator power that is placed here and the platen edge. We will have to record the cold generation for passivation and etching. In our case, we only have for etching. We also have to record the APC and the process pressure, and if we did a helium leak-up test, the helium leakage. If you have any problem finding any of the parameters, you can only leave the cursor on top of the window, and a yellow window will pop up telling you what is displaying. Once the process has completely finished, you will see that the wafer color will change from brown to green. Once that it's done, the next thing to do is just unload the wafer. It's very easy. You go to the transfer window and press unload, and we'll see how the wafer it's gonna be returned into the load log chamber. Once the wafer is in the load log chamber, the next thing to do is to press vent and wait until the chamber is into atmospheric pressure. Now the load log chamber is back into atmospheric pressure, so we open it, we grab the wafer that we just processed, we put it on our box, wafer box, we keep it in a safe place, and the next thing to do is put the carousel chamber into standby pressure. We do that by clicking pump only into the transfer window, because we won't be processing anything else, and nobody is after us. We will go to the edit menu, go again to operator mode, and press monitor to put it into standby. Once we've done that, the next thing to do is to log off from the laptop. So that's it for like the operation of the STS. If we have any doubts, please contact staff, but you can also check the SOP for the STS and also the complementary videos that explain more in detail each step of the operating procedure.